When you're starting out woodworking, one of the most important things to do is figure out how to join your wood together. And to do that, well, there's a bunch of different ways. And some of them can be a lot more difficult, some of them can be a lot easier. But there's also a bunch of wrong ways to do it. So in this video, I'd like to show you how to join your wood together so that it'll be nice and strong and hopefully last you a very long time. When you're building your projects, you're usually going to use screws or nails. I would highly suggest using screws just because they're a little bit easier to put in, and then if you find out you messed up, you could easily take them out. But if you prefer, you can use nails. Just remember to get them back out. Well, that can be quite a challenge. Here's a quick tip on screw selection. First off, I would avoid using drywall screws. These are meant for drywall, not for wood. These right here will easily shear off in your wood project, thus making them very hard to remove and possibly ruining your project. Unfortunately, these are inexpensive at the stores, and that's why a lot of people buy them. But don't use these. But instead, we need to look for a construction type of screw. In fact, it even says construction on this box here. These are a lot thicker and meant for wood projects. This one is more of an interior type screw because it doesn't have a major coating on it, versus this one is meant for exterior use. I usually prefer the exterior because that way I don't have to worry which project I'm using it on, but you can buy either one. Now that we have the fasteners figured out, I'd suggest getting a good quality wood glue because the wood glue actually seeps into the fibers of your wood here, making it really hard to take apart once it is dried. In fact, I've previously tried to take apart a project I realized I messed up on, and as I was able to finally pull it apart, the bond of the glue did not break. I actually broke the fibers of the wood and messed up the project. So if done correctly, this can be really, really strong. Now when beginners usually start assembling their wood projects, a lot of times they will put it together in this fashion. This is called a butt joint. And then they'll take a screw or a nail and go through this piece of wood into the end grain of the other. Now this is not a very strong joint because the screw can't grab those fibers really easily. Let me show you. I'm going to use these dowels here to kind of represent the fibers of the wood. If you take a screw and you go into side grain and you screw it into the wood here, and then you try to pull out, those fibers pull against the ridges of your screw and don't want to let it go. But if you go into the end grain here and you screw the screw in, if I can even get it to stay in there, you'll notice that I can easily pull that screw out with just barely any pressure. That's because the fibers, all they want to do is spread out and go around the screw. They don't want to sit there and hold it. So that's why it's strongly suggested to go into the side of the wood and not the end grain. Now there are some exceptions, of course, to this rule, specifically if you go to a construction site. You'll see where they've built studs in the walls, and they'll have a topper board and a couple nails that go straight through this wood into the end grain of the wood below. Now keep in mind, a home or a large structure like a building is not meant to be moved around, so you don't have to worry about all that being such a problem. The studs are mainly just done that way just to keep them in alignment, so as everything else goes onto the structure, it'll be nice and strong. So in this exception, it's okay. Now that we're trying to avoid going into end grain, let's see if we can build our project maybe in a different configuration. Maybe up and down, or the side to side, or side to side like this. In any fashion, we want to be able to have that screw going through one board or one side grain into another type of side grain here. And that'll allow us to have a nice firm grip within that second piece of wood, holding these nice and tight. So let's say we've looked at all the different configurations and nothing's going to work except the butt joint, but we still want to avoid going into the end grain. So what do? That's where pocket screws come in handy. When you're using pocket holes, this allows you to, instead of drilling into the end grain, you're actually drilling outside of it. So in other words, when the screw goes into position, it allows you to screw across the grain of this ever so slightly, which keeps this nice and strong, and into the side grain of the receiving board, making that joint really strong. Also, don't forget to use some wood glue in between that connection there, and once it dries, that joint will be even stronger. For this next example, I'm going to use a picture I found online. I believe this is supposed to be part of a utility cart, but if you look towards the bottom, you'll notice that the legs are attached on the side of the frame, I'm guessing using just screws. Now, that is not a great idea, and let me show you why. The picture shows a board something like this with screws going through. And by doing this, you're relying all your weight and your strength just in the shear strength of your screws. Now, of course, some screws are stronger than others, but by relying just in that, if the screw was to give out, your whole project's gonna fail. But instead, if they would have put the wood, the leg, all the way to the base here, then attached the outside board to it like so, then put the caster underneath both of those, the weight would transfer from the leg to the caster to the floor, thus giving this a lot more strength. And sometimes there'll be some exceptions to this rule. Let's say maybe it's a family heirloom and you have to hide the way you're putting it together so you can't see it. Let's say it's just a bad design and the person who wants it demands it to be that way. In those cases, try and get a good quality screw that has a nice thick shaft here, or nails if that's what you're using, because the thicker this is, usually the stronger it is and the longer it will last. Also, if you can, add some glue in there and that'll make that connection as strong as possible. But otherwise, if you can, try avoiding just using the strength of your screw. So we talked about pocket screws holding a board in grain, a butt joint like that. But what if we need to do something like that and we also have to be concerned about the shear strength of those screws? Well, not too long ago, I built a ladder for one of my buildings. And in just that case, I was able to attach the wood nice and strong to the sides, but I had to also be concerned about the shear strength of those screws because I knew, especially if I was carrying something heavy up that ladder, I didn't want to just trust the strength of just a couple screws holding it together. So, let me show you what I did. Once I had each of the steps in place attached to the legs that were going up and down, I then decided to take another piece of 1x and I put it right under each side of each of the steps. It wasn't this long, it was only about 3 inches or so, but I then proceeded to add 3 more screws going into here so that it provided a ton of shear strength going up and down for this one step here. But then, knowing me, I decided to over-engineer this, and I took one of these massive structural screws. If you've never seen one of these before, this right here has a shear strength of over 1,000 pounds. So I added that to the end, going in, holding everything nice and tight together. Overall, this right here was probably a little overkill for this setup, but I now don't have to worry at all about carrying anything heavy up these steps because the chances of this giving out is slim to none. Okay, I know the appearance of the blocks underneath the ladder steps is not that pretty, but again, it was a ladder. But let's say this is supposed to be a little bit nicer project. We can look at it like this. Instead of having a big wooden square looking block, you can always cut out maybe a triangle and stick that in there. Or maybe something that has a little bit more decorative curve to it and stick that in place, glue it and screw it, and it should give a lot more strength. Of course, if that's too big or just too ugly, you could always put some metal brackets in there that would be a lot smaller. Either way, we're just trying to help out the shear strength and shear up your projects. At this point, I just want to let you know, if you forget when you're putting a project together and you didn't think about shear strength or maybe adding the right connection, I still do that. It happens. In fact, let me show you one I built recently. I built this project in a previous video, and in that process, I had to modify because I made a mistake or two. But I made an additional mistake that I did not realize until I got some comments, and that was using only the shear strength of these screws. I have 2 screws going in through each leg into the bench here. That's a total of 8 screws and should be sufficient for a person my size. But if you had several heavier people, maybe they were kids or something climbing all over this, there is a small chance that the shear strength could go out. So I'm gonna have to go back and add an additional bracket or some kind of wooden block under here to give it some additional strength so that won't happen. Now there's one more joint I do want to recommend for you. Now, of course, depending on your skill level, some of you might feel intimidated with this, but others should not. I still believe this can be a beginner type joint. You can do this with a circular saw, you can do this with a sliding miter saw, and if you happen to have a table saw, you can do it as well. That is a dado joint. This is where you cut a notch out of the wood. That's the same exact size of the piece you want to attach to it. And then you can add some glue to the top, bottom, and back And you can add some screws to the front here, and that will be an extremely tight joint. Now maybe you're thinking, hey, wait, I still don't know how to actually cut out a dado. That's okay. In my previous 2x4 video, I actually showed exactly how to do this in making a project. I'll put a link to that in the description just in case you're interested, but it's really not as hard as you might think. Now, of course, there are plenty of other ways to put joints together. For example, finger joints, dovetail joints, mortise and tenon, and many more. The thing about some of these is they can look very intimidating. So I don't suggest jumping into those right off. I'd suggest work on these simpler joints, get your skills built, and as you get more confident, then try out some of these others. I'll be honest with you, I actually prefer the simpler ones because it's a lot easier and quicker to put them together. But that may not be your case. Okay, quick review. Make sure whenever we're putting these wood joints together, we're using a construction type of screw or nail, and when possible, try and use some wood glue. That should make it extra strong. All right, if you could think of any other joints that would be great for beginners, please list those in the comments. I'd love to hear about it, and you'll help out a ton of other people. Otherwise, I hope you get a chance to get out in your shop and have fun building.